Yes, guys, how you doing? Welcome back to Football Inc. We hope you're all happy and healthy doing the things that you love with those that you love to do them with on a really sad day. It's really important to appreciate what you have because, you know, it can go all too quickly, as we found out this morning with the tragic news of Diogo, Jota and his brother passing away unexpectedly in tragic circumstances, leaving, or at least Diogo leaving his new wife and 3 young kids behind. Unbelievable tributes being laid at Anfield and at Molineux all day today. Johnny, how are you, mate? Really sad day, huh?
Yeah, it's a really sad day. And the one thing is, you know, on a terrible day like this, you know, that all the football community, the football world all come together. We're as one. There's no such thing as rivalry. Grief is grief. And, you know, there's always that odd idiot that makes a ridiculous comment. And, you know who you are, those people out there, and karma will come for you. But on the whole, you know, 99% of the community has been absolutely superb. I mean, it's unthinkable that your life and the life of all those around you can just change at the flip of a coin. So, you know, for me today, you know, when you think about grudges you have, arguments you have over triviality, they mean absolutely nothing when something like this happens. So, you know, bear that in mind today, guys. I mean, he was a fantastic footballer. Loved him at Wolves. I always remember when they signed him. I wanted him to sign for my club, and many others wanted him to sign for their club. And, you know, he became a bit of a folk hero at Liverpool with his song Number 20, which, you know, as I said, was voted the best song for Liverpool. I've had it in my head today. I was fortunate today to be at Wimbledon. I've literally just walked in. It's taken me 2 hours to get back. But
we'll get to your cover in a minute, mate.
Yeah, but I just look. The thing is, it's.
Did they do anything at Wimbledon? Did they do any?
I didn't see anything, but you know, people were talking about it. You know, even people who aren't football people. You know, people who, you know, saw the pictures of him and his wife and those 3 gorgeous young kids. My God, you know, he's just had, you know, he's won the Nations League. He's got married to his childhood sweetheart. And the tragic thing was, Sean, that he was advised to drive home because he couldn't fly home on medical.
Yeah, I heard that, yeah.
Yeah, because of a little operation that he'd had on his lung after collision against Chelsea, I think it was. He damaged his rib, but he was out for a couple of months. I mean, the thing is, you know, he might not have played every game for Liverpool, but when he came on, he was just that guy who had that knack of putting the ball in the net. You know, Liverpool will sorely miss him, and I think it's a fantastic gesture to retire his number 20 shirt. You know, it's not like he was there 5 minutes. He was there over 5 years. And I don't know how you know, as a club with someone like that, how do you just go back into your club and forget him and it not affect you? I don't think it's, you know, it's definitely going to affect Liverpool. I'm sure they'll have counselling and things like that. And let's be honest here, right? I think so much has been going on about Diogo, but we forget about his brother Andre as well. And imagine, you know, losing anybody is terrible, someone you love, but to lose 2 sons.
The parents must be.
It's just. I know. You know, people have been digesting this all day, and you probably heard it a lot today. But you know, this is a show where we couldn't. You know, how could you come onto the show and just ignore it as if it was there's nothing? And hopefully, you know, Liverpool. You know, if anyone was to go on and win it this season, I hope it ain't going to be my club. That I hope it is Liverpool, and they do it for Jota. And I know the fans will be around him. As I say, you never walk alone. And I'm sure that the family won't.
Yeah, tragic stuff, mate. Lovely words as well. You're a better wordsmith than I am, mate. I never know what to say in these moments. But like I say, if you got someone near you, give them a hug, because you never know
Absolutely.
if it might be the last time, right? So and let someone know that you love them. And I love all of you. I'm sure Jonny does as well.
Yeah.
So we're going to try and move into the transfer news, views, and clues from the last 24 hours. And listen, I'm sure at some point we're going to tackle Jonny's attire for the day, because that does have to be addressed at some point, mate. And hopefully we can still have a bit of a laugh on the stream. But yeah, it's super sad, mate. I do want to look at him. Get your badge off, you bozo. What's you doing? Let's start with the news that came out from the Daily Mirror an hour ago, mate. Apparently, that's saying that Crystal Palace will not consider selling Eberechi Eze under any circumstances this summer for a sum lower than his £68 million release clause, amid interest from Arsenal. Interestingly, that it didn't say amid interest from multiple clubs, just Arsenal at this stage. Do you think that that's a number that will put off Arsenal? Obviously, we know the structure, but the number itself, is that going to be something that's problematic for Arsenal?
I think if I was Crystal Palace, you're twerking for Rodrygo, who's 80 million euros. You're twerking for Nico Williams, who's 68 million pounds. Pay up the money. What you think you're going to get on the cheap. And the fact of the matter is, the terms are the terms. The fact that Arsenal want to buy about 5-6 different players is nothing to do with Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace have to go and reinvest that money, and it's not easy for them to, find replacements. It's as simple as that. I'm sure they've identified, but there are other clubs out there. Bournemouth are looking for that sort of player. Brighton will be looking for that sort of player. So they have to move quick.
Can you imagine if Arsenal went, okay, here's your 68 million, and then they went and dumped it on Mohamed Kudus just to really screw up Tottenham Hotspur's plans?
Yeah. Well, Chelsea could go and do that right now. I mean, they've had 2 bids refused. Look, if you know what the bid is and you really want your target, go and pay it. Okay? There's a reason why Chelsea have done the deals they've done. They haggle for 5 minutes. And if they're not prepared, they'll walk away very quickly. Mike Maignan, who they really wanted as the goalkeeper from AC Milan, they had a specific number on. They said, we're not prepared to pay anywhere near that. This is what we're prepared to pay. We're miles away. Thank you very much. Good night. No messing about, and that's how top clubs operate. It's how Man City operate. It's how Liverpool have operated. You can understand with Florian Wirtz taking a long time to negotiate that number because of the huge numbers that were involved. I mean, it's not something they could take lightly. It's all the detail in the contract, the wages. There'll be clauses galore in there, So we shall see. But I don't think the clause is terrible, Sean. They said
£68 million. No, and in three installments, when you put it into perspective, right? That's basically 60 million quid. I think it's 3 times 20 plus 8, right? And if the rule is that it's 20 in each,
but that's add-ons
window. That's basically 60 million in 13 months. That's quite a lot, isn't it? It is quite a lot.
Yeah, but it's add-ons, right?
Well, the 8 million is the add-ons. The 60 million is
it was 60 million, but add-ons. What are the add-ons? Like winning the Champions League?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying the structure of the deal doesn't sound like it's too prohibitive, being in 3 times 20 million pound tranches. But if those 3 tranches happen in July, January, July, it's essentially 60 million quid in a year, which when you think of it that way, it is quite a lot of money in terms of the structural payment.
Well, I understand that, but are we to assume that Chelsea and Arsenal, Spurs and other clubs are not, it's not something they do to spend 20 million in a window? I mean,
of course, no, it's probably not that abnormal. I'm just saying that
it's not prohibited.
But it might be if you're cash poor, if you're illiquid, like that might be putting Tottenham off, to be honest, because if Tottenham are apparently cash liquid relative to what they usually are. Here we go. You can leave your hat on.
Right, I'm back now. I'm back.
He started. I was wondering, was it going to be inside the first 10 minutes?
No,
It's 9 minutes
honestly,
and 47
can I tell
seconds.
you something? I
Whoever
was
had
a
9
guest
minutes, drink a shot.
Listen, let me tell you that I was a guest today. I was a guest today at Wimbledon, and I'm not a big drinker, but I was having.
You had a few, have you? You've had a few.
Yeah, I had a
Oh,
few.
yeah?
And there was a bit where I was getting a bit rowdy on centre court, and this lady, there was this lady. I was a bit premature. That's out. That's out.
Really?
Yeah.
Was,
Right.
was the missus giving you the old
No,
thigh
she
squeeze?
was
Like,
laughing.
"Shut up."
She was laughing. Her and this woman next to her, right, were laughing. They were hee-hawing, and the woman in front was, excuse me. This is a tennis game. Could you please keep some decorum? It was all a bit like that, right?
Was it?
Yeah, we
You
just
don't get that on. You don't get that on court number one, mate. Court
No,
number one's
mate.
where the party.
He's sitting there giving it large, looking at us eating a packet of cheese cheddars. Have a word with yourself.
Get yourself strapped in, guys. We've got an hour of this to go. Johnny's going to be lively this evening. I can see it.
Yeah,
I can feel it. Every 10 minutes, he's going to undo another button. Another button's coming down. The hat's going to turn backwards. We're getting straight in.
It was a great day. It was a great day out today. Started terribly, with that tragic news, but it was a lovely day. The crowds at Wimbledon are absolutely massive. I was did the outside courts and that, and just the volume of people.
There's like 250,000 people there every day, isn't there, or something?
It's like
massively
I was
wrong?
up on Henman Hill or whatever they call it now. The Hill. I think they just call it the Hill now. Yeah, I did the.
Yeah, we haven't got a player in there anymore, have we? We got there's no one left to name it after.
No. I saw Djokovic versus Dan the tennis man, who I think is long gone. But no, it was good. Saw Sinner, saw Djokovic, saw a couple of lesbians playing each other. But other than that, it was.
All right, this might be Tottenham's last, just for Football Inc.'s last show of the.
They were very nice. They were very good tennis players. It was a very good game.
Yeah, sorry, I got that completely wrong, didn't I, Finn? Sorry, mate. Yeah, not 250. There must be about 100,000 there, though. There's a lot going on in the background, isn't there?
I would say there's about 100,000. I think.
Yeah. 100. So I wildly got that one wrong. Let's get back to football, though, guys. So first of all, the other breaking news that's come out in the last hour and a half is Anthony Elanga has been the subject of a new improved bid. Apparently, it's been rejected already. Newcastle have made a £55 million bid for Nottingham Forest's Anthony Elanga, according to Fabrizio Romano. Looks like Newcastle have identified their guy. It doesn't appear like anybody else is going in for him, but Forest have their number. And at the moment, Newcastle are just warming themselves up to it, playing around, a little bit of foreplay. What do you think?
Play the 60 million. They won 60 million. Why should they let him go for any less? This is the way the market is right now. If you want to release a player, if you want to buy a player that's not in the last year of his contract or has got plenty of time on his contract, you got to pay the valuation. You might not want to pay the valuation, but you got to do it. It's as simple as that.
You know what else is as simple as that, mate? Because you know how I've been hating using the new overlay because it doesn't quite get the screen in. So I thought I'd cheekily slide the 9 and 10, the 11 and 9 version back in. And Tony here has already caught me out. It took him 12 minutes. 12 minutes all it took to be found out. I'm a fraud. Let's put the other one in there. There you go. You get your normal one back. There you go. Okay. Oh, hang on. No, I've got 40 teams in there now, apparently. Hang on, let me get rid of the other one.
Triple.
There we go. Is everyone happy now? Is everyone happy? Okay, good.
Right.
Okay. You got your OCD
the
stuff. Overlay's done. There you go, Tone. Yes, Alanga's the first one, and Eberechi Eze, both teams not willing to.
Sean, I mean, does that mean Harvey Barnes or Gordon? One of those could be in jeopardy, or are they thinking Champions League? We need strength and depth.
They need strength in depth, mate. Yeah. And definitely need strength in depth. They've got a wonderful first 11. but it goes off it drops off pretty quick if they need to, and that's what they've been trying to build up over the last couple of seasons. I think Elanga will be a wonderful talent. I can't see Anthony Gordon leaving. It's amazing though the amount of times on Twitter recently I've been seeing people saying, "Oh, I'm not happy with Kudus. I'm not happy with Eze. I want someone else." Who? And it's like Anthony Gordon was the answer. And then you go back in, you go into their profile and you put in the search bar Anthony Gordon, and you go back 2 years and they go, I don't want that Everton mug, that Scouse mug, that Scottish mug, whatever. Don't want him at my club. A couple of years later, he's first choice apparently above players like Eze and Kudus. It's quite wild how people move their opinions once they've got
while we're actually on. An old Evertonian, just quickly switching it up. Do we think now the loss of Jota will mean that Liverpool will have to go into the market now for another midfielder?
Liverpool, yeah, that's what I said to you on the phone this morning, didn't I? I wonder it was midfielder / attacker. I wonder if that's going to...
Is it too raw? Is it too raw and they feel like, they can't do that right now?
Nah, it's business, mate, isn't it?
I know, but who would they go for?
Probably one of the targets we want.
Well, that's exactly.
Never a dull day. There'll be a meltdown if that happens.
Yeah, but
Gordon's linked to Liverpool, is he, Mark? I haven't seen that one. I haven't seen the Liverpool hard on for Gordon. Have done for 4 seasons. Would they really take an ex-Evertonian to Liverpool? Do you think that would work?
I don't know. Might be difficult because he's a bit of I always thought he was a bit of a blue nose.
Like Everton fans generally hate him now, don't they? For the way he treated us, the way he sort of threw his toys out the pram when he left. So maybe, I mean, certainly that would add a lot of spice to the Everton Liverpool derby. What do they call the Merseyside derby? Isn't it? That's what I'm thinking.
Derby. I mean, listen, look, if they lose Darwin Núñez, I don't think they can lose Darwin Núñez and Diogo Jota to those terrible circumstances and not buy at least players. Yeah. I actually think, funny enough, I think Liverpool are desperately short at the back now. They've sold Konsa. They've got Konate and Virgil. I think they definitely think they're short there. I think Arsenal are much stronger at centre back. Defensively, they got much better defensive cover than Liverpool have at the moment. So it'd be interesting to see. But Anthony Elanga, great acquisition if they paid the money. I was surprised Man United sold him. They did, but you got to pay the money. It's as simple as that. Newcastle, you've been now. Well, this will be their third dip in the price, going over 2 or 3 weeks now. Yeah. Smithy, thanks for that. It's a boyhood Liverpool fan. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't know that. That's interesting. Mate, another really interesting story. I don't think we had a chance. I think we did speak about this yesterday. But over the course of today, I've just seen there's a post out from Fabrizio 3 minutes ago. I'm gonna see if I can get it up, and I'm just gonna pause, and I'm gonna see if it doesn't get overlaid by the that overlay thing there.
Still trying to get it up, Sean.
Have been for years, mate. Have been for years.
Lewis, that's what you need.
I think something stronger than that. Understand Arsenal have had a new round of talks for Noni Madueke as the player could be open to the move. Nothing advanced yet in terms of club-to-club approach or direct negotiations, but AFC maintain contact separate from the Eberici Eze deal. So, I mean, first and foremost, are Arsenal fans going to be in any way okay with Noni Madueke? Noni Madueke is nothing like a player that Arsenal, like the average Arsenal fan, would be okay with. Is he? I don't think so.
Look, I just think that Arsenal are doing what Chelsea did. We're just going to buy everyone, right? They bought Zubimendi, right? They built Mascara. They bought going to buy Kepa, Zubimendi. Looks like Gyökeres, in for Noni. Eze still on the list, and they'll probably buy more.
Well, but who does Noni come in to replace?
Well, who's
coming as backup to? Is Noni Madueke really going to go in and play backup to Saka?
Well, let's be honest. What was he doing at Chelsea? He was playing. If he's getting paid the same or more, he'd be happy to play, be part of a team that's challenging. I don't know. But he's not wanted at Chelsea. I mean,
would you have him at Tottenham?
Maresca, well, he's an ex-Tottenham player. Of course I would. Maresca said he's 100% part of the squad, which 100% meant he was going. When he came out with that, he's 100% part of his squad, right? Well, now he's obviously not, because they've signed Gittins. You know, they've signed Delap, and they've signed Yao Gomez. So, I mean, look, Jota, Pedro, sorry. I don't know. They certainly can't keep him. I think Chelsea will end up selling 3 or 4 of their players. Well, which ones?
Well, I think the 4 they're going to have to sell some of the forward line. They're going to have to sell one of, Nkunku, Jackson, Noni. I mean, we say they've got hundreds of wingers, but they actually don't. I was looking at their squad earlier. They don't have that many sort of top draw. They've got a lot of wingers that are obviously with what's his name?
Jackson.
The blonde Barbie, the Ukrainian Barbie. What's his name? Why's my name gone? Why's his name gone blank in my head?
You're talking about the guy who's been banned.
The guy's on drugs. Yeah. What's his name? Mikhailovich? No. What the fuck's his name? What's wrong with my memory's not working? Is your memory working today? Help me out in the chat here, guys. Johnny, why are you laughing? Mudryk. There you go. Mudryk. There we go. We got it in the end. Know what's going on with us. Know what's going on.
Yeah.
I doubt he's going to be reinstated. If he does, there's problems for Chelsea. But if he doesn't, he's going to have to make a move, right?
Yeah, look, they've got Mudryk, they've got Nkunku, they've got Jesse Jackson, they've got Jackson. I mean, how many strikers I read an article where they said that they're looking for 9 attackers in a squad of 25. So they got 9 attackers, they got 3 £100 million sixes. Lavia, Enzo, and Caicedo. And then at the back, they've got a lot of defenders. What they desperately need is a goalkeeper.
I think they need a world-class centre-back. If they want to take themselves more seriously, like if they want to, rather than just sort of robbing Peter to pay Paul, swapping a 7.5 out of 10, 8 out of 10 player for another one, like stop doing all this, like we're going to buy everybody up, and just go and get a world-class striker and a world-class centre-back and a better goalkeeper. And they're pretty good, aren't they? They've got a wonderful midfield, you know?
When was the last time Spurs did a deal with Chelsea?
William Gallas?
Yeah. I mean, we've got Chelsea and Hove Albion, right? They must have done about £300 million worth of deals.
Johnny, mate, someone's at my door. I'm the only one here. Can you hand it a second? Yeah,
yeah, carry on. You got Chelsea and Hove Albion who have done. I've lost count how many deals that they've done, and then you've got the agreement Chelsea and Arsenal that seem to have done their deals without any problem, and it's just gone on and on and on. But I don't see Spurs. I can see Nkunku leaving, but only on a loan. I mean, he hasn't been there that long. He's still on a long contract. And Jackson, I don't know what you guys think. Jackson, he gets himself in the positions, but his finishing is off. Marshall, the world ain't ready for the Johnny show. I can tell you that, mate. It definitely. 260 million between Chelsea and Brighton. Absolute batshit bonkers, as Katie Hopkins would say. I hope she hasn't copyrighted that, because I'll be in trouble. Sean's picking up a new top like yours this morning, Johnny. Now, this will be the last day of the shirt, guys. I promise. The shirt fest is over. It's just been a couple of events I've had to go to. Spurs shouldn't look to sign anyone from Chelsea. It depends who listen. They've got so many players now. Some of them they're going to get wrong. If you think about the players they've let go, Salah, Kevin De Bruyne, there's plenty of them. Who's to say that there won't be another one? Look at the players Man City have let go over the last few years. You know, Delap, Luis Diaz, Morgan Rogers, Palmer. You can do a whole show. You could do a whole show, the whole show. You could do a whole team, should I say, on the players that Man City have let go. So he's got the list. So I haven't seen the list. So who else have we got? He's got. Is Richarlison set to leave, according to the Sun? And they're saying that Thomas Frank wants to give him this transfer window. Richarlison is among the players Thomas Frank will assess pre-season before a decision is made on his Tottenham future. The Brazil forward has been the subject of wild speculation in successive windows for obvious reasons, because he's never fit. As we know, the best ability is availability, and he hasn't been available. Richarlison's preference remains to stay and fight for his place at Spurs, as he is conscious he has not been able to show his true best form because of the periods on the sidelines. Galatasaray are looking to take him on loan. We'll come out to that in a minute, because Turkey's taking everyone on loan. They're not into paying any fees, just loans.
Yeah.
We'll come on to that after. Sure. If you're in the chat, guys, do me a favour. Hit the like button, guys. Couldn't do it without you. Your like game's been strong. Helps the algorithm. And if you're here for the first time, please hit the subscribe button. We're growing quick.
Yep. And it's all you got to do, guys. If you want to participate in the chat, we'd love you to come in and tell us where you're from, who you support. If you're new around these here parts, all you got to do is hit the subscribe button and you get instant access. We only put it on just to try and encourage you guys to get notifications for the next show. Also, if you are interested in the podcast formats, it's on Apple Pods now and on Spotify. So links for that are in the description. And we're going to see where we're going to go with this bad boy. What was the story you were talking about in my absence there, Johnny?
I just flipped to Richarlison because I didn't have the list, because I just got back. But I was just saying, Frank wants to look at Richarlison. I think if Richarlison can stay fit, Thomas Frank's going to like him because of his work ethic and his aggressive play. It suits how he plays, and also the fact that he can also double play on the left, and then you can dovetail potentially playing Richie in the Champions League games and Solanke, in the Premier League. Because let's be honest, to play Champions League, Premier League, Champions League, Premier League, it takes a lot. You need more than two strikers. Personally, I think you need three top strikers if you want to do anything in these leagues. We've seen even the Liverpools and Arsenals and the like.
Well, at least two, and then one that's like an everything guy that can sort of move in or whatever, right?
It's a 9 or something like that, And maybe that's where Kudos comes in,
Appreciate you, Brad. Maybe. Look, we can talk about Kudos in a little while, because there is an update there that Tottenham have actually put in a second bid, and it has been rejected today. What I do worry about there is Tottenham doing all the grunt work, being like the front of the peloton at the Tour de France, where you're taking all the wind in your face, doing all the work, carrying everybody along, and then at the last minute, some geezer that's been in your slipstream the entire afternoon, like Chelsea, picks up the phone and says, "What's that? They finally had a bid." 70 million quid, was it? Okay, cool. Yeah, we'll do that. 71 million quid. Thanks. And by the way, how exhausting is it working with Daniel Levy? Yeah, I thought so. Come on, give us a call. I'm Todd Bowley. I'm always here to make things easy. We shall see. But we can come back to that a little bit later on, mate. Interesting story out a couple of hours ago. Actually, there's a couple here. I'm going to start with this one. Atletico Madrid, whilst we're talking about Tottenham, according to AS is the source here, it's come out a couple of hours ago as well, that they really are going all out to sign Christian Romero and are now willing to put a deal in place worth about £61 million. That is still not enough in the eyes of Daniel Levy, according to the report, mate. What's your take on that, buddy?
Same as ours. You want the player. He's got 2 years left. You got to pay over the odds. That's it.
And what is the right money, do you think? 70 million quid?
75 mil, I think.
Pound or 75 euros? Or
75 million pound. Because that's what it's going to take
to replace him.
Yeah. If you like, I'm not saying we're going to go and get him, but if you wanted like a Bastoni, or you wanted someone of that ilk, or the next great big talent, first of all, it's going to be a tough job coaxing someone there after, you finished 17th in the league. Yeah, we won Europa League, but we finished 17th. It's not the greatest success story. Who's your manager? Thomas Frank. I rate him very highly, but in the international scene, he's a nobody, right? He's not a draw. So there lies the problem. We saw Thomas Frank lose out to Noosa. We saw him lose out to Archie Gray. We saw him lose out to Johnson. So maybe someone else can do the draw. But yeah, no, I can't see it.
Yeah, look,
75 mil. What? Who would you buy, Sean? If you got the 70 mil right now, who would do you think?
I wouldn't go and try. I wouldn't spend 70 million quid on a new centre back. I'd go after someone like Castello Lucaba. I'd go after an Evan Ndicka. Diamandi's going to Palace, so it looks like He's going out. But is not coming to Tottenham. Clearly, doesn't want to come to Tottenham.
A lot of Spurs fans were twerking for Ndicka. He has not had the best season for Roma.
No, he has had a really good season. I just don't like the player that he's become under Roma's tutelage. I think he's become a boring centre-back that just hoops the ball clear. I don't think he's not really a Tottenham-style centre-back in the way that we've become a little bit accustomed to, a little bit of flair, a little bit of something. He's got all of the minerals. I think he played every single minute for Roma last year. I think he's got like a perfect attendance record, and I think he had a 7.5 on a few different averages. Like, he's still a very good centre back, but he's just not like he just gets hoofs the ball clear. Like he's like that old school kind of get it out sort of thing.
You're in the Champions League.
I don't mind him, but I just don't think he's necessarily the guy that I remember him being in terms of his cult. I used to think he was cultured, mate. When he was playing at Frankfurt, I really, really enjoyed watching him play. Not so much anymore.
And listen, look, I'm not saying Danso's a bad player at all. I think he's a good player.
Very good player.
I don't think he's Champions League level, personally. And you're going to go into the Champions League. We need a Champions League level player. That's my opinion. And unless you're going to look, if you said to me, we're going to get £80 million for him, and we're going to spend £50 million on a very good defender, we can get him on 50 million. The next up and coming Romero. And we're going to spend the £30 million on towards a six, another defensive midfielder. I'm all for it, but
that's what I would do.
Selling him on the cheap, mate. It's as
simple. I would rather sell him for 65, whatever, 70 million if he wants to go.
Sorry, go on. Carry
and then go and get a player like, if you could do it. And I'm getting really concerned if not to make this about Tottenham show, but just whilst we're talking about it, I'm getting really concerned with the fact that we're not linked with any sixes, any eights. Really, it's all like we were at the start of the window, but they were throwaway links, no substance to them. I don't really understand why we're focusing all of our intention on a winger or a forward. I get it; it's an important position to fill, but for me, there are players available right now for cheap, for 25, 30 million quid in the six role, and they will all be gobbled up very soon. No doubt in my mind that they'll be gobbled up, and then you'll be left like paying 60 million quid for a player that's probably an up-and-comer that we could go and get 30 million quid for a here now, ready now solve, like a Douglas Luiz, like a Polinia. And you could get both of those players for the money you could save on Romero. And for what it's worth, I genuinely think that those two players protects the back four that Tottenham have already. And that with those two players in the squad at Champions League level, I think you then have a better chance of handling the better teams in the Champions League. I think you also have a much better chance of being able to get those 25, 30 points improvement that we need in the league.
You need a leader at the back, and I don't think Mickey van der Ven is a good player. He's not great in the air. He's not, in my opinion, the leader. Listen, it's up for debate. For me, we need a Hincapié type of player. Great left centre back and great left back. But let's not make this about the Spurs show. Let's go on to some others.
Yeah, so interesting one out here from Chris Wheeler, who writes for the Mail, who says that United are listening to offers for Rasmus Højlund, but most of the inquiries for him so far have been over loan moves. Inter Milan have concrete interest and has Turkey.
Yeah, and so again, what did I say to you? United are screwed. They're only going to get a loan. No one's going to buy them because they know United are over a barrel. There's no way out. So what do you do when someone's under stress? You take the piss. And taking the piss is we can only get them on loan and we can't afford that amount of wages. So when you go to Italy, to Inter Milan, who have said, no thanks, and then they'll come back. Or when you go to Turkey, again, I mean, Turkey are getting everyone's going. Everyone's going to Turkey.
It's funny because we've been speaking about them for the last few weeks about how everyone's linked with them, but they haven't actually closed the deal on too many of them yet, have they?
No, but they're on loans. Well, yeah. Duran's done. Tammy Abraham's gone to Besiktas on loan. That's just been done. There's plenty coming. And they're all loans.
No, exactly. And like, you saying, at least they got offers, Sean. 100%, mate. I agree. Like, no one's coming in for Tottenham players at all. There is Romero's obviously wanted. Yeah. Solomon's wanted in one spot. But I promise you, if Leeds United, if we mess around there, Leeds United are ambitious right now. They're going to go and find someone else. So we can't sleep on these opportunities to move players on. If you want to bring, and I'm not making about Tottenham, but if you want to bring players in, you have to move players out. And at the moment, there's sweet FA in the way of interest from Bissouma, apart from in Turkey, but Turkey are interested in everybody. There's sweet FA in the interest of Richarlison. He won't go anyway. And for what it's worth, Johnny, I was speaking about this on Spurs Talk Show a minute ago. We're talking about Casemiro just running his contract down. We're talking about Mark Gahey maybe running his contract down. We're talking about Konate at Liverpool maybe just running his contract down. What's to say that Bissouma just goes, I ain't fucking leaving. I'm going to run my contract down as well. He's only got 1 year.
Correct. He could possibly do that.
And then we're fucked.
Yeah, so that's the problem. But Manchester United
and Bentancur as well. Good point, Jordan.
But look, Bentancur will sign a new contract. Don't need to worry about that. But I think
you reckon?
Yeah, but Man United. I mean, what's going to happen with Kobe Mainoo? What's going to happen with Garnacho? They can't really get rid of Jadon Sancho. Jadon Sancho's got 1 year left on his deal. So he's going to run it down. What he's going to say was, I'll only go out on loan. He'll do a loan deal. And at the end of the loan deal, he'll be a free agent and he'll sign for someone else. Money, 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 money. That's all he's interested in. He's not interested in anything else. And then you've got Casemiro, who's in the last year of his contract, right? He's going to go for nothing. You're going to get any money for him. And then you've got Højlund, right? And then one of the biggest ones of the lot, Rashford, who wants to go to Barcelona and play for them. Hansi Flick would love to have him because he's versatile, but Barcelona don't have any money. So the only thing they can do is a loan deal. They also want to do Nico Williams from Athletic Bilbao, but they don't have the £65 million. So Rashford could be that player, which then, if Rashford was to go instead of Nico Williams to Barcelona, that means Nico Williams will be stuck there, which might mean that Arsenal then make a move for Nico Williams instead of Noni. That's also a possibility.
Yeah, it is.
There's a lot of swings and roundabouts, but I think United have the most players to move, and until they can move them, the rumor is though now they're in the second tax year, and that Ruben Amorim can spend maybe up to £200 million. I don't know how, but apparently he can.
Well, we shall see. We shall see. I think they've got a cash flow situation as well, which needs to be sort of chalked over. We'll get to that at some point over the next couple of weeks. Interesting story out of Atalanta. I'm just looking into it. I mean, I think Atalanta have just signed. A couple of days ago, actually a couple of minutes ago, they've signed winger Kamaldeen Sulemana from Southampton for 17 million euros.
Yeah.
And at the same time, it looks like Al Qadsia, I don't know how you say it, obviously a Saudi club, have submitted their first proposal to Atalanta for Matteo Retegui, whose the current package is worth 40 million euros for the Italian striker, but Atalanta want more to let him leave. I think they want 55 million euros. He's a player that's been spoken. We haven't spoken about him too much, mate, but he's a player that's very highly rated, and that Milan have been looking at him as much as a couple of teams closer towards the UK. I think I've actually seen a few people in the chats I've been in recently saying that Tottenham should be looking at Retegui. So he's a very interesting player, good-looking boy as well.
Do you know who I thought would definitely be on the move this summer, if not already, is Ederson. I'm amazed that Ederson's not left Atalanta yet. I mean, he's a proper player. It just says multi-channel says Martinelli linked with a £73 million move to Al Nassr.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, another get out of jail free. If you can sell your player, if you can sell your player for telephone numbers.
But the argument used to be, Johnny, why would someone in their prime want to go to Saudi? It's the place where you go at the end of your career to make that kind of life-changing money. That argument's sort of dead in the water now because we know what happens. They go over there for big money and then they pick up 500 grand a week or whatever for a year. And then about 18 months later, they find their way back into Europe, don't they?
Well, or they go out on loan to Turkey.
Yeah. I mean, it's
carry on 1 second. Go on.
That's all right. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, we'll see what that Martinelli story is, where that's coming through. But yeah, I'm massively going to spend some time over the next 2 or 3 days using a bit of Chat GPT and Grok to figure out the ownership structure of some of these clubs, because I think that there's. I did it the other day. I tried to bring it up to show you guys. I think it was on yesterday's show, but I'd lost the data. But I started playing around with Grok, asking who are Clearlake Capital invested in, who are Blue co-invested in, who invests in them, by before. And there was lots of like other teams in Italy and Germany that were caught up in standard deviations away from the norm, and it all makes sense. But you just have to kind of pull, like, it's almost like a loose thread on a jumper, right? You pull on it, and it just all falls apart eventually.
Well, we've looked at this, and Sean and I have been going on about some of this stuff for a long, long time. I was sat next to a guy today at tennis who was talking about the same sort of thing that we were talking about, money going into Saudi and how they're paying all the money. Phil, just to say, mate, I know there's a long way to go in the transfer window, but if we just sat here and said, yeah, it's a long way to go in the transfer window, we're all cool. But that's no drama, is it? We need some drama. We need drama. And, football's about drama. And, all the clubs, there's many clubs out there sat there waiting for their first transfers. Newcastle are sat in there waiting. There's lots of clubs waiting to hear their club. Here we go. And it seems to be only a select few that are making any moves just now.
A lot of it appears to be here we loans rather than here we goes. Juventus are unlikely to cover even half of Jadon Sancho's salary, Chris Wheeler is saying, Johnny. Another problem for Manchester United.
Because they know Man United need him gone. And come the summer, he'll be a free agent.
Is he only got 1 year left as well, is he?
Yeah.
Wow. Interesting.
He's not going to sign another deal. Thank you very much.
A couple of super chats here from Gambling. In our squad, Danzo is closer to Champions League or Championship? I'm not sure what that is.
Yeah, Champions level. Yeah.
I'm not sure what you're saying there.
No. Champions League or Championship?
Championes either way.
Thank you very much for the super chat.
Appreciate you, Gambling. Coming in, another one was saying, is it a case of one £100 million player, 2 times 50 or 3 times 33? Is that for Tottenham again? Yeah, I mean, I've been saying this for ages. I know Johnny feels slightly differently to me on it. I personally think that we're not far away. If the scouting of the youth team starts to get a chance, then I think that eventually Tottenham should be able to try to go for a £100 million player. The problem is that by the time we get around to doing that, I'm not sure if a £100 million player will get you a Declan Rice anymore. They'll get you probably a Pilau Rice rather than a Declan Rice. You know. Hey, you done another button gone down again, is it, mate?
Wait, hang on a minute. I've had too many requests. I'll be back in 2 seconds, guys.
Get that bloody shirt back, Johnny. That's drama. It was classic Saturday Night Fever. Love to see it. Johnny likes the attention, so you keep giving it to him. Shorter Johnny, what do you think about Gonzalo Ramos? Very underrated player. Yeah, didn't have a great year last year though. Another one of these players that came up when they were 18, 19, and everyone was rambling like waxing lyrical about them, and then had a bit of a like they went a bit there he is, he's back. You can leave your shirt on.
It's disco night.
Our Spurs still signing Callum Mwendo. I'm not sure, but that story's gone a bit dead, hasn't it? I mean, I don't really if we're going to go and get a player out of France, for me, it's Mikel Tadzi. I think he'd light up the Premier League. I'm a massive fan. Tonight, Matthew.
Tonight, stars in your eyes. Tonight, Matthew.
I'm gonna be top Jota.
It's not unusual to get out with anyone.
Sex bomb, sex bomb. Oh, my hips gone. You can tell me, baby, if you turn my pacemaker on. Sex bomb, sex bomb. Oh, my hips gone.
Hey, the spinning globe. Have you seen the light coming down, interrupting the show? It's the globe.
Sensational stuff. Sensational stuff, mate. Let's crack a lack on though. So we've got the Al-Quadza move, Al-Quadza move for Matteo Retegui, which is an interesting one. It really is. And Besiktas, here we go. Here's another one from Turkey for us all. Besiktas have approached Noah Okafor's camp over a potential summer move. Sorry?
Say that again.
Besiktas have approached Noah Okafor. Is that you trying to take the piss out of my ability to... hey, so I can enunciate these bad boys over a potential summer move. The Turkish side are keen to loan AC Milan striker after RB Leipzig's also been showing interest again. Like, what's going on? This Turkish football is all about loan. Never see the money.
Look, I was explaining this to someone a couple of years ago and again this season. Why is the Turkish transfer window open 1 week longer than the other transfer windows? And the reason is they pick up all the dregs of players that are stuck at clubs that no one wants, no one can get rid of, and they know they can sweep in that final week and get a deal. And they've done it over and over and over again. What's different this time is they're moving early.
Yeah.
They've got John Duran and Tammy Abraham already. They tried to get Victor Osimhen back. That hasn't worked. I think Victor Osimhen is just lying there in wait. I mean, for me, there's a player that, under the right handling, I just think he's going to absolutely smash it. I think.
Yeah, where do you see him? Do you see him coming to the Premier League, though?
I think if he came to the Premier League, he'd absolutely smash it. Look, he smashed it in Italy. I'm a great believer if you can smash goals in Italy. It's one of the hardest leagues where, defence is king. I think you can come to the Premier League and smash it,
But who's going to... I think you need a certain type of club to take a certain type of character like him on. I'm not calling him trouble. I'm not saying that he's trouble. I'm just saying he's a big personality. He's a big character. Does he go to a team that's not, of a certain caliber brand in football? Like I think that Manchester United, he could, like they could handle someone like a brand like him, and he could handle a brand like them. I don't think he goes to a team like Tottenham. Maybe Liverpool might end up with him, and if they did, that would be just terrifying, wouldn't it?
Yeah, could you imagine Victor Osimhen, Salah with Florian Wirtz?
Florian Wirtz, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Gravenberch, yeah.
Listen, what we know is Victor Osimhen will be a massive upgrade on Darwin Núñez. If Darwin Núñez could find where the goal is, he'd be smashing goals, because let's be honest, Darwin Núñez keeps finding those positions. He just, he has a panic attack, snatches at the goal, but he's still young enough, Darwin Núñez, that if someone could get inside his head, maybe he needs a sports therapist or someone to get inside his mind, because there's a player there that could be suddenly turn it on and find the net again. But we said that about people said that at Chelsea about Timo Werner, and we all seen what's happened since.
Yeah. Interesting story out of Brentford tonight. I'm just looking up.
Yeah.
They've signed a player called Anthony Malambo from Feyenoord.
Yeah, it's a really good player.
20-year-old talent, 5-year deal plus the option, £17 million plus £4.25 million. So 21.5-ish million pound for a 20-year-old. That's quite punchy for Brentford, mate. That's really punchy for Brentford.
Yeah, but if you listen, I think he's a good player, and I think it's great value. He picks up the ball in the middle part and drives forward. He's quite an exciting player, and I
don't know too much about him, so
I've seen him. Andrews was all behind getting him. I think it's more of a gamble what they've done with going for Andrews, who was the set piece coach for Brentford, and was the only member of staff really who didn't leave and go to Spurs. Former player, former Sky Sports journalist, reporter. It's a big, big task. I mean, if you think about it, Thomas Frank cut his teeth in the Championship after Dean Smith. He was assistant at Dean Smith for a little while and then took over. Rough start. But that was in the Championship where you can afford to, lose some games and then come back. But to cut your teeth as a debut in the Premier League,
yeah, it's tough.
It's going to be tough having lost
Ryan Mason a little bit, isn't it?
He's lost his 6. He's lost Norgard. He's going to lose Mbuemo. It's not going to be easy for him. That's for sure. That's for sure.
I wanted to ask you about this one, mate. Real Madrid and Xabi Alonso are both open to selling Rodrygo this summer. Something's come out from Newcastle United from Fabrizio Romano. What's that? Ooh-wee. And it's coming out from Ornstein as well. Let's have a look, see what we got here.
Elanga again.
Newcastle United have sent £55 million bid. Negotiations underway. Ornstein's just said something as well. What's Ornstein said? They come out at the same time. Newcastle United are pushing to secure the signing of Elanga from Nottingham Forest. New bid right now for 23-year-old Sweden international worth more than £55 million. Efforts to finalise the deal with Nottingham Forest ongoing. Work also needed on the player side. It looks like that one's done, mate. It's a matter of time. Elanga to Newcastle. I'm going to get up the Newcastle United squad here for us to have a little look-see.
It's interesting, though. 60 million they're going to get for him. They've just bought 2 Brazilians for Botafogo for 30 million for the pair.
Forest have, yeah.
That's Igor Jesus and another one there.
Let's have a look. I'll get this up on the screen for us. Newcastle United's squad. Share this tab instead. Let's pivot. Let's have a look. So on their winger front, their squad currently looks like Anthony Gordon, Harvey Barnes, Antonito Cordera. I don't know who he is. Jacob Murphy, Alex Isaac, and William Osula. Yeah, look, I don't think there's any need to move anyone on here to bring. Anthony Elanga's just coming in to add a lot of depth, isn't he? Johnny, still there? You're on mute, mate.
Second fastest player in the Premier League, mate. He's electric. People forget he's still 23. 23. Sweden have got a cracking team. Let me tell you. Bergvall, Elanga, Gyökeres, Kulu, and others coming through. I mean, they could be a threat. They get to the World Cup next season.
Are they? You wouldn't mind getting them in like a sweepstake, would you? You wouldn't mind getting them as an outside chance.
I think they could be. They definitely could be a dark horse. I
wouldn't put any money on it. Like I put a £20 bet earlier on. I forget what odds I got. I got really good odds, but I put £20 on Liam Delap to be out a Golden Boot next year for Chelsea. I've just got a feeling he's going to do really well. Golden Boot's probably a push, but
you were going to say you backed Burkina Faso to win the African Congress.
No, I back Bikini Fatso though occasionally on.
Talk about Fatsy. Fatsy. He's definitely, that deal's done now. Another loan to Monaco.
Monaco, yeah.
Rehabilitation 11. That should be known as now Monaco.
Yeah, it's not. If you're a rehab club, it's not the best place to go if you're a recovering player. When you got all the beautiful girls in Monaco, tax free, and a casino that everyone goes and loses all their money in.
Yeah.
You know?
Apart from the gambling, the cars, the women in the shops, what could possibly lead them astray for a group of players who have lost their way for the last 5 years, honestly?
100%.
It's like a guy I knew who was a gambling addict, and he said he left his wife, wasn't with his wife, and he said, "I've moved." I said, "Where have you moved to?" He says, "I live over there." I said, "What, above the betting office?" He goes, "Yeah, what's wrong with that? Hello? Living above the betting office.
Nothing wrong with that at all. Nothing wrong with that. If your internet goes down, then you get yourself the betting shop's perfect way to live.
Louis Barry.
I wanted to ask you about Rodrygo because all the noise coming out from Real Madrid is that Rodrygo's open to leaving. Xabi Alonso wants him it's okay for him to go. Real Madrid open for him to go. I put this question out on one of my Tottenham things earlier. obviously, like Tottenham haven't obviously expressed any clear interest in Eze, but Tottenham fans are losing their shit about the prospect of losing one of our own, apparently, to Arsenal, even though he obviously isn't one of our own. But do you think that, is this a weird way of thinking about it, right? That Tottenham fans should almost hope that Arsenal sign a world-class player in Rodrygo because it gives a sniff of a chance for Eze to come to Tottenham.
Yeah, listen, look, Rodrigo's number one, but I don't know what's gone on with the pricing here. Look, started off with 100 million euros. Then we broke it the other day that it's down to 80 million euros. What do you think is the real number there, Sean, with Rodrygo? I mean, is that 80 million euros?
I think 80 million euros, yeah. 88, I think above 75 million quid. And that's the going rate, mate. You've got to use the market as a barometer. João Pedro going for 60 million pounds, which is 70 million euros. If he is 70 million euros, Rodrygo is a baller, bro. He's one of the best in the world. And I know he doesn't like playing out of position, but he can play in a multitude of positions. He scores goals. He's an inside forward, or he can be a winger. He's one of those few players that can do a little bit of everything. And he scores goals. He's a threat. He's terrorizing. If they have a starting front four next year of Odegaard, or God forbid, it was Eze in the 10, Saka on the right, Rodrygo on the left, and Gyökeres up the top, with Zubimendi and Declan Rice behind it, and then the best back four in world football.
Honestly, that Arsenal mean business, right? And that's coming from a Spurs fan, right? Arsenal, if they pull off Gyökeres, Eze, and Noni, or Gyökeres, Rodrygo, and Noni, or Eze,
Saka, whatever. Yeah, if Saka's in there.
Arsenal are a massive, massive threat, and worryingly so. And the fact that they start with a very hard fixture list, we'll certainly see where they are. But
well, this is a question for you, Mark. You're asking me, try and make Spurs sound serious on transfers. I don't consider us to be in the same pool of Arsenal, City, and Liverpool. And to a degree, I stand by this. I don't think Chelsea have improved materially. I think they're about the same level as they were last year. I think Liam Delap is good business. I don't really think that Jamie Gittins is worth the money. I think he's a good player, but then Jadon Sancho was a great player at Dortmund, right? So you have to bake in that there's no necessary transition of value. But hang on. My point being that Tottenham Hotspur, whilst we're slow off the tracks here, because the question was about Tottenham, I put us in the same bracket as the next four teams, right? Or the next three teams: Villa, Newcastle, United, and Tottenham. And so United are very much improving, but they're also cop-blocked by themselves and their prior mistakes. Have Villa improved yet? Absolutely not. Have Newcastle improved? Well, they may be about to add some depth, expensive depth for what it's worth, in Anthony Elanga, who's had one really good season at Forest, but was absolutely shit when he was at United. And what I want to ask is, Johnny, if Tottenham fans signed Anthony Elanga, if Tottenham signed Anthony Elanga, would Tottenham fans be happy with that? I don't think they would.
Look, personally, I think Tottenham fans, a lot of them haven't got a clue about football anyway. It's just like they play Football Manager, or they play Football Transfer, or whatever the game they play. FIFA. I rate Anthony Elanga. I was shocked that they sold him. Don't he's still only 23, Sean. He's still 23.
But he's a horses for courses player, mate. He's a player that does really well in a system where
he's a dangerous player.
I'm not saying he's not a dangerous player, but what I'm saying is that he came alive in a system where the other teams for the entire time, they were playing Nottingham Forest, were playing on the back foot for 80 minutes.
Yes, on counter-attacking football.
And then counter-attack. But Newcastle United don't play that way.
Yeah, listen, if you see him pick up the ball, look, I believe, we write off players way too young. At 23 years of age, you're nowhere near the peak of your... Eze is at the peak. He's just hit 27. He's at the peak. 23 is not the peak.
I'm not saying he is, and I'm not writing him off either. I'm just saying £55 million for a player that is a very specific player that plays in a very specific system, sort of like Brennan Johnson, different type of player, but like a very, very good in one system. And Newcastle United, especially when they're at home, are not a team that sits on the back foot. They're a team that goes forward. Anthony Elanga's primary skill is his breakaway speed. How are you going to utilize that in a model where you have 60% of possession when you're at home. Away, and even away from home, most teams, 12 teams in the Premier League, are not going to attack Newcastle away from home. So I just don't. I think the story makes sense to me.
Right. Okay. Listen, I think you're going to be wrong about Elanga. I really do. I mean, if you saw the goal he scored, look, I think he's got good feet. He was a kid at Man United. I mean, 21, 22, 20, 21, coming from another country. I think we write players off far too quick. I don't think
who's writing him off.
No. I mean, there's a lot of people say, "Well, I wouldn't take Elanga." I'm not saying you, but a lot of people say like he wouldn't pay that money.
But can you see the point I'm making, that the way that he has exploded last year is in no small part, not entirely, but in no small part because the structure of the way that Nottingham Forest played football in their breakout season. In counter-attacking, but not just counter-attacking, like in tight, like that was the entire thing. I don't think people will give Nottingham Forest that credit next year. I think next year people will deliberately allow Nottingham Forest to come onto them because.
So are you saying that when he goes to Newcastle, he won't be able to play like he did at Forest, and therefore Elanga?
I'm saying that Newcastle United won't play the way that Forest do.
No, we know that. But what I'm saying is, so are you going to say? Are you saying now that you don't think he's going to be anywhere near as effective in Newcastle because they play in a different system?
Well, it's an unknown, but what I would say is £55 million for a player that has proven himself in one style of football. When you're going to another team that doesn't play that style of football for 70% of the games that they participate in, I think is a punchy price tag.
I think it was a great bit of scouting by Forest to get him in the first place. I really liked him at Man United. I saw potential in him. I really rated him there. I rated him at Forest, and I think Newcastle have got a good player. £60 million though, is 60 million the new 20? I mean,
this is the point. This is the point I'm making. This is exactly the point, right? If he's 60 million and João Pedro's 60 million, then West Ham are going to sit there and look at that and go to Tottenham Hotspur. Mohamed Kudus is now 75 million, and Eze is absolutely undervalued. If I wanted to go and get Eze right now, I'd say I'll pay you 75 million, but let me structure the deal in a better way. Because the release fee is probably undervaluing Eze for a certain team, but the payment structure might be prohibitive in the fact that you've got to pay 60 million over 12, 13 months.
Anyway, we will see, but I think that they know what they want and they've gone for it. They haven't. They wanted another striker. They wanted a fast winger. They've got it. Listen, guys, if you could do us a favour, if you are on Apple and you listen to podcasts, if you go and track down Football Inc., if you could leave us a review. I know you watch us here, but if you could give the show a review on Football Inc. On the podcast, that would be fantastic. Obviously, we're starting from ground zero. We got no followers. I know some of you are out walking the dog, walking the kids, walking the wife. If you got your earpods in and you listen to us, give us a listen on there, and please give us a follow and a little quick review. Please don't mention the shirt, okay?
TBR Football literally come out with a new post saying Arsenal are growing in confidence that a deal can be struck for Rodrygo, who is expected to make it clear, quote unquote, make it clear he wants to leave Real Madrid after the Club World Cup. Mate, I'm starting to grow a little bit more confident that I hate to say it, as I said this on the video earlier, I hate to say this, but I think Rodrygo is a better player than Eberechi Eze. So I shouldn't want Arsenal to get a better player, but if it helps Tottenham get the guy that can help them, if Tottenham can go and do a double swoop for Eberechi Eze and a Mohamed Kudus, we're not competing with Arsenal next year in anything but pride. We're not going to be able to get there yet. So like it's a horse, it's a.
Why did they sign both, Sean?
Who? Arsenal?
Yeah.
Because Eze plays on the left or in the 10 and Rodrygo plays on the left, right? So I don't think they're going to do both.
But if you look, barring 2 games last season, Eze played as the 10.
Yeah, I know 90% of the games. I know he did. Yeah, but I don't think that. I think that, and that's why that's the argument I made for Eze joining Arsenal is that he plays on the left a little bit, but it could be competition for Odegaard. I'm not sure they're going to do both, but if they're going to sign Noni Madueke, if the argument is that they're going to sign Noni Madueke and someone else, I don't think that they might sign Noni for the right to be back up to Saka, and they might sign Rodrygo.
Going for 72 million.
Martinelli, yeah. Well, they would need to lose either Martinelli or the.
If they lost Martinelli for 72 million, that pays for Noni or pays for Eze and Noni almost. Not far, a million miles off it with the other players they're going to sell.
No, if they bring in three, Noni, Eze, and Rodrygo, they would need to sell Martinelli and somebody else. They've got too many players in that forward line.
Yeah.
Plus, they're going to get Gyökeres, right? So it's frightening how good they're going to be. But like I say, I'm almost kind of like that Rodrygo to Arsenal becomes a here we go, because I then think that Tottenham will come back in, because I can't see Eze going anywhere else apart from maybe to Bayern Munich, which would be the next most logical competitor, right?
Yeah. Well, listen, it looks to me that 55 million is just a throwaway number that clubs are using now. And what's frightening is when you're only allowed to lose 110 million in 3 years in your books, if you keep paying 55, 60 million pounds for players, it's not sustainable, Sean. It's as simple as that, mate. Because you ain't getting your money back. You're not getting your money back. I don't think you're getting your money back. If you're spending 50, 60 million pounds, you're not, it's hard to get your money back unless you're buying a very young player that's going to go up in value. And even then,
Can't do that all the time. Everyone's trying to be that guy, right? But also, I think that people think that if you buy a player for 50 and you sell him 3 years later for 50, you've got your money back. You haven't really, because of inflation, right? It's like
exactly.
It's not the same conversation. Mate, there's not really that many other stories out to go to. So should we call it a day there?
No, we call it a day. But guys, please, if you could hit the like button, please, on the chat. And if you're here for the first time, please hit the subscribe. And as I said before, we're now available for the first time. All of our previous are now available on Apple Podcasts. So if you listen on the podcast, please go there and listen. And as I said, drop a like and drop a follow for us. That would be fantastic.
The videos on the video version of this, like what you're seeing now, is actually available on Spotify podcast as well. All major podcasts are covered. Smash the like button, guys. Smash the subscribe. Johnny's going to come back tomorrow with a new shirt.
Oh, Daniel with a super sticker. We can't miss that before he's gone. Daniel, thank you very much.
Every stream, Daniel. You're very generous, mate. Thank you very much, buddy. You always pop in with a little cheeky little loaf of bread.
I mean, look at that. I mean, Philip's right. 6 million they paid Arsenal for Martinelli. So, they can afford to take 50 million or 45 million and make a very handsome profit on it. I think Arsenal will offload some players. They've probably got some kids they can get rid of as well. Smash the like on your way out. Thank you very much for everyone for listening. It's goodbye from me.
And it is goodbye from this guy. Tomorrow he's coming back with a new shirt to keep us all entertained. Like you guys. Sorry, Henry, I don't know what's happened to Sam, but I'll text him to let him know that he's left his stream on and I hope he's okay.
I hope he's not saying anything controversial.
Hope he's okay. Grift is on point. I'll hit the like because I respect the grift or the graft. I'm not sure. One or the other.
We heard the graft, Gary.
Grift and the graft.
The graft is real. The graft is constant.
There you go. Every day. We'll see you tomorrow, guys. Thanks, everyone. Like, subscribe, and comment. As always, bye-bye.
Bye.